Islam and the World Today, a study about Islam. What is Islam? Firstly, what does Islam mean? It means peace or submission. The Islamic religion is all about sincerity and good works, not necessarily about loving and serving others from the heart, as Christianity followers. Muslims are followers of Islam. Muslims serve Allah, the Arabic word for God. They believe Allah created man not from dust, but a mushy blob, and that he had a prophet who they believe was just as important as him. This prophet's name was Muhammad. History. Muhammad was a simple man born around the year 570 AD and was orphaned at a young age. He was passed on to the care of his grandfather, who passed away and then lived with his uncle. Finally, the child Muhammad went to live with a Bedouin family for a few years, which was then a custom for noble families such as Muhammad, to learn the hardships and values of solitary desert lives. It was here he first learned the patience and such that led him to others trusting his wisdom in later years. In his 20s, Muhammad got married and raised a family. Supposedly, he had many wives and many children, but only a few kids of his survived. Eventually, in about his 40s, Muhammad went out on one fine day to meditate in a cave in Mount Hira, a mountain just outside what is now called the Islamic capital, Mecca. Suddenly, in his peaceful thoughts, a voice called out to him. When translated, the voice said, "Muhammad, I want you to get up and teach the truth to the world and write a book saying how people should live."
I must go and teach the world about Islam.
When Muhammad told those close to him of those events, they encouraged him to go out and preach. Later on, the voice that spoke out to Muhammad was assumed to belong to one of Allah's angels, Gabriel. Although Muhammad's friends and family were happy for Muhammad, the people of Mecca were not so pleased to hear what he had to do and say.
People of the world, Allah made you. So let's all be really nice and follow traditional schedules for the rest of our lives.
Or at least that could be a Christian's way of phrasing the message of Islam.
No, we don't believe you. We like the way we are, and you're just a big phony.
The Meccans plotted against Muhammad, and he fled from Mecca where he heard about it. This flight was called the Hijra. After 8 years, Muhammad returned to Mecca safely and continued preaching. What does Islam have to say about God or gods? As said before, Allah is the Arabian term for God. Christians know that the Trinity is God in 3 forms and that God needs to be the focus of our lives. Islam, however, teaches that
Allah has no partner. He doesn't love or need us, but our appreciation toward him will pay off someday.
So Allah is the only Islamic God. As you may tell, there are a lot of unanswered questions in Islam about life. These questions are all answered in the Bible. Speaking of the Bible, surely Muhammad isn't alive anymore. So where do Muslims get their teaching? The Quran is the Islamic scriptures, which has many of the same people and such from the Bible. But their version says that they did different things or served different purposes. The Quran itself shows how Islam is basically a twisted version of Christianity, made to be outwardly more difficult to follow, but spiritually easier to fulfill. What does Islam say about salvation and retribution? The following topics are somewhat tied together, so please pay close attention. Like Christians, becoming a Muslim is simple enough, but continuing to live as one can be tricky. Muslims must be faithful to Allah. This is why Islam means submission. You must agree that you belong to Allah. Muslim must also do good works. If someone does something wrong, Allah excuses them until they sin a little too much and he makes them suffer for a while on earth. The last term is like the other two. Worship Allah sincerely. Muslims generally take worship very seriously, and this is why. That's all it takes to be a Muslim. Back to good and not so good works. Why does Allah seem to ignore some wrongdoings and give punishment for other times? Why not just always have a person pay for what they've done on the spot? Because Allah is waiting for Judgment Day. What does Islam say about afterlife and universe? Judgment Day is quite different, yet quite similar for both Christianity and Islam. Both religions believe that God or Allah will take away every person from earth to be held accountable for their actions. However, with Christianity, God has already determined the fate of those who have passed away, into heaven or into hell. With Islam, people who die do not instantly go to either hell or paradise, as they call it, but instead wait in their graves until Judgment Day, when they and all others, Muslims or not, will stand before Allah. who uses a balance to weigh the faith and works of a person. If their good works outweigh their wrongdoings, then they will go to paradise. If vice versa, then vice versa. The funny thing is, the Quran states that Allah will even determine the fate of Christians and Jews, which gives us a chance to be saved, even if we aren't Muslims. This proves the pointlessness of becoming a Muslim. Now, how might a Christian witness to a Muslim?
Hey, what's up? Shh. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Please be quiet. I'm trying to memorize the surah from the Quran here.
You studying the Quran? What for?
All Muslims like me spend their childhood daily studying, memorizing the Holy Quran. Gosh, why can't you know these things? Shouldn't you be busy too?
I'm Christian. I study the Bible.
Christians are weak. How can you call yourself a follower of God if you don't even know your own Bible? I know the Bible is much longer than the Quran, so you can't have already memorized it.
I don't memorize words. I memorize the concepts of Christ's teachings.
What does that mean?
Knowing verses doesn't make me Christian. You've heard of John 3:16, haven't you? And you don't believe what the verse teaches, do you? Well, just knowing what a verse is doesn't help you. Treasuring what the word means and showing it in your life is what counts.
Well, I already know half the Quran, and I can tell you plenty of what it means, and I do good works all the time. And I bet I can try harder than you to be good.
God wants us to do good works for the sakes of others, out of any love and kindness in our hearts, not because we're obliged to, according to religious practices. From what I can tell, most Muslims only do good works out of selfish ambition. They do it so that Allah puts them in paradise. That's Satan's paradise, you know. Either way, Muslims go to hell.
That's not true. Islam is a beautiful, humble religion where Allah cares about everyone who serve him loyally.
Does Allah love you? Okay, tell me one verse or whatever in the Quran that expresses how the importance of a loving relationship between Allah and a person is.
Well, I haven't really gotten there. All I have to do is obey his laws. That's enough to save me.
Aren't his laws to do good works and bring peace?
Mostly, but that's why we follow traditions that help others. We do it all the time. Give to the needy, give up what I want. We are very helpful.
Okay, so how is that above and beyond good works if everyone does it every day, like a chore?
I don't know, it just is.
I'm just asking, sorry.
Well, I don't even really know what Islam is all about. People keep telling me I will soon find out. Just keep working for Allah. Just keep working for Allah. I still feel empty. I don't know Allah.
Do you want to know the real God?
Well, hey, I don't want to know half the Quran for nothing.
Well, just think about it. Here. Try reading this. Just give it a chance, okay? Yeah.
Even though Islam is the fastest growing religion, Christianity still stands as the largest belief in truth.